All right, welcome back to TCI headquarters. We're going to do our preview and predictions for what I'm going to call, and Will might write on this later this week. I'm going to call this the walk-on bowl. You got two guys that are head coaches now. Both of them started their playing career as walk-on wide receivers, right?
I haven't thought about that, but yeah, that's their walk-on bowl. I like it.
So you might see that in a title later this week from Mr. Vandervoort.
Yeah.
Special week, as we talked about in our Tuesday segment, Will, with CJ getting recognized, Tony Elliott coming back to town. Dabo was on the radio show Monday night with Kathleen talking about all the great things they do for Breast Cancer Month, and they were talking, and Kathleen's like, "Oh, I just got a text from Tony's wife." And Dabo's like, "Yeah, she's listening to the show. She's trying to get some scoop." She's like, good move, Tony. That's your wife listening to this show." So a lot of love between those two. They'll try to put that to the side during the game, but there'll be a lot of that before and after the game this week.
Yeah, and it's and I'm glad they're doing CJ, and I guess it was intentional to do CJ this week because CJ, worked under Tony Elliott, for several years when CJ got into coaching. They're pretty tight too, so that's pretty cool to kind of, you got Tony coming back, you're honoring CJ. I just think it just all comes together. As Dabo mentioned, it's also their pink game with the support for breast cancer and for the All In Foundation. Dabo says he'll be wearing his pink jacket even if he's missing a button or two. I love to tell it because he says he got it from Belts, I believe, is where he always talks about it. So he'll be wearing that on Saturday as well. Good for Dabo, though. He can still fit in it because if you remember, Dabo started doing this in 2009. That was his first pink game. And so that's 15 years ago. And so I can tell you right now, I probably can't fit in my jackets.
Down the hill, and I see Dabo running around all the time. We'll watch it. We'll go over there for some of those camp practices, and 30 minutes after Dabo's out getting his running in. So
yeah,
he puts his time in. A lot of those coaches do. A lot of those guys are down on the field before the game doing laps and stuff. But all right, Will, let's get football. What's your keys for a Clemson victory this week?
All right, I think Clemson's defense has been better the last 2 weeks. But this will be a different challenge for them this week with the quarterback. What's his name? I can never say his name right. Anthony Calandria. Reminds me a lot of Kate Klubnik, to be honest with you. Actually wears number 10 as well. But he's a very
number 10 as well.
Number 10. Oh, sorry, number 10, not number 2. My bad. My brain's not working. He's very exciting. He doesn't let the previous play affect him at all. Sometimes he can be dangerous and he'll throw a ball where it shouldn't be. But his teammates love him. I mean, they love the guy. They rally around the guy. And if he gets hot, he can be a problem. So my key for Clemson is they got to make sure he doesn't get in rhythm. They got to make sure he isn't feeling good. Because when he's feeling good, the offense is feeling good, and the entire Virginia team is feeling good. And then they can start believing they can go in here and win this game. Now, Tony's going to have them believing that anyway, but everything they do revolves around number 10. And if he is feeling good, the rest of the team's going to feel good. So it's important for Clemson's defense not to get off to a slow start. They got to come out there and dominate right off the bat and get after him and make sure he's not affecting the game.
All right, I'm going to talk about my keys, and while I do, I'm going to have Will's mind churning probably when the last time Virginia played in Death Valley. Because that great quarterback, we'll see a little bit different environment than he's used to around the ACC and other places this week when they come in here. Even though it's a noon game, Clemson fans have showed this year they can get up and be a great crowd and have great energy. So I expect to see that. My key for this game is the same it's been for a lot of them this year. It's just Cade be Cade. Be the new Cade. If Cade plays the way he's played the last rest of the season since the Georgia game, Clemson's going to be just fine. It's going to be another blowout, and Will's going to be writing his post-game stories in the third quarter. So my thing is for Cade just to come out, play well, just continue that, build on that confidence. Doesn't have to hit every throw. Last week we saw him miss a couple throws early, just kept on going, finished I think 31 for 41, which is like 75% completion. So Clemson's got the weapons, they got the confidence, just come out and, if the offense does what they do, it's not going to really matter a whole lot what that defense does as much against that quarterback that can be dangerous and dangerous with his feet and all of that. So I'm going to put my key on Caden, just continuing to play the way he's played. And Will, did you figure out when is the last time Virginia?
If I'm not mistaken, it's 2009.
Okay. And I don't know if that's right or not, but I'll go with that. And if so, this is a very different environment that they're going to see this week.
The last time I think Clemson played, I could be wrong, but last time I believe Clemson played Virginia at Virginia was 2013. And so they won't play them again for another 4 or 5 years after this. So, you're going to go almost
been a while.
15 years.
Beautiful drive.
If you remember that game, it was cold. Taj Boyd's senior year, Sammy Watkins last year. That's how long it's been, folks, since Clemson played at Virginia. And I believe, maybe I'm wrong, it could have been maybe earlier, but I do remember the 2009 game because Clemson clinched its first appearance in the ACC Championship game in 2009 against Virginia. But I think that's the last time.
And see, I shouldn't have put you on the spot like that, but I know you love all that history stuff.
Yeah. And I might be wrong, so don't at me if I'm wrong out there.
But don't at Steeler Will.
I'm just doing that straight off my head.
But anyway, the point, going to be a different environment.
Yeah,
for these guys.
Absolutely. Well, Virginia might have came in here during COVID year.
Did they?
They might have. I don't know. I'll have to check it. But obviously, we can forget the COVID year. Everybody does.
Big crowd that week.
Yeah, it was hard. It wasn't hard anybody here. So
let's give you scores.
Predictions. Okay, so
on the record.
All right, so this is interesting because I haven't really thought about it. Don't know what the line is. I haven't even looked at that yet. I've been so busy.
Line don't matter.
I know it doesn't matter. Let's say this. I think Clemson's offense is going to be the difference, obviously, in the game. I think Clemson can put up 40 points on Virginia. Virginia's defense is better. I know Dabo talked them up on Tuesday and all that stuff about, how better they are, and they're the best, second best, or the best, one of the best defensive fronts they faced this year. I see some of that, but then I also see they give up, 100 and 15, 20 yards rushing. They're giving up 260 yards passing, which is the second worst pass defense in the ACC. By the way, Clemson's the number 3 pass offense in the ACC, and we see what Cade Klubnik's doing week in and week out. I think that's an advantage to Clemson. I think Clemson can exploit it. I think they'll try to exploit it. So I look for Clemson to win this game 41-20, somewhere of that nature again. I know I'm giving up to 20 points. That seems to be what I do. Let's say 41-20, Clemson over Virginia.
All right. Last week I went with 52. They didn't quite get there. They got to 49.
We thought you were going to get
I
there.
actually want to go higher this week, but I'm not because of one reason. And that one reason is Tony Elliott's on that other sideline. Mm-hmm. So I think if Dabo's got this game in hand, I think in the second half, where what we've seen, the last 5 or 6 weeks, if Clemson's up, they just keep throwing. They're still throwing the ball down the field and all that. I think if they get up comfortably this week, we're going to see a lot more handoffs just to run that clock, run the score down, not beat the brains out of Tony and Virginia. So I think Clemson could probably score 55 or more this week. But I'm going to go a little closer to you, Will. I'm going to go Clemson 45. I think the defense is playing well. I think they'll continue to leave them out there a little longer. Dabo was thrilled with the second half performance of the defense last week.
I was too.
So I'm going to go 45-14.
45-14, okay.
Nice, easy victory for basically both of us, and we'll see. I think fans will take either one of those and be happy and move into a bye week and get ready for that critical stretch of the season.
3 games after this game. They got Louisville. They come back for Louisville. Then they go on the road for Virginia Tech, and then on the road to Pittsburgh. That's 4 weeks from right now, Robert. We could be sitting here with Clemson with an opportunity to clinch a berth in the ACC Championship game.
We could be. I think we will be sitting here very likely, maybe going into that Virginia Tech game with the Tigers having a chance to clinch.
Wow, you're saying that going into Virginia Tech game? You're saying so somebody's going to have 2 losses already? Mm-hmm. Wow, okay. SMU?
Yeah, I think they're the most likely.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
I mean, you got Miami, Louisville. Miami loses that this week, and it could flip. But
Yeah.
I just see. But I think definitely, obviously, by the Pitt game.
Yeah. I think by the
win
Pitt
that
game,
one, you're 8-0, and you're very safe. But just
I think they're probably wearing orange breeches going to Pittsburgh, which would be cool.
orange britches going to Pittsburgh.
Yeah, that'd be cool to watch. You kind of see them up in Pittsburgh wearing the orange breeches, and because
I want to see the orange britches in Virginia Tech. How about that?
you can see that too.
Let's go.
As long as I don't see the purple breeches.
And Bart wants to see Dabo in the block C hat, which he thought he did in October. Not calling you out or anything, Bart. Dabo might have pulled the OK.
By the way, Bart forgetting his hat, left it in my truck this past week.
He forgot the Ohio hat?
Forgot his Ohio hat.
Does he know that?
Yeah, he does. He
Oh,
texted
man,
me.
we
He
could
texted
have
me
fun
Sunday.
with that.
He texted me Sunday. He says, "Do you got my hat?" I said, I got it. I told him I'll take good care of it.
Did you tell me you wash it?
Yeah, I told him about wash it.
For those who don't know, Bart wears this Ohio hat. He went to Ohio University. And let's just say the hat does not smell well. He sweats
And
so
make
much
sure
running around. Bart is the hardest working photographer on the field. He's up and down the whole
He
game.
is. He's the best photographer too, and probably the best photographer in the Southeast, to be honest with you. But the thing that's funny about it, let it know it's the Ohio hat, so Ohio Bobcats. Okay, he doesn't want you to think he's associated with that other team in Ohio because he hates that team. He hates that team bad, and so I'm making sure it's the Ohio Bobcats that he went to school. That's his alma mater. So.
Okay, so Bart will be over at Will's house sometime between now and Saturday, making sure he gets that hat. All right, folks, we look forward to seeing a lot of you guys in Death Valley Saturday. Stay tuned to our coverage all week long. We're rolling weekly playoff prediction things now. Great to be able to be back in that mode, and plenty going on the recruiting front as well. So stay tuned to Clemson Insider for the most complete coverage of Clemson football and Clemson recruiting.
This is BT Potter. Make sure to check out the Clemson Insider's most complete football coverage. Nobody does it better.